Hi y'all, it's Michelle the Southern Shell, and I posted a video the other day and I promised to share how to make these crocheted wreaths. So I'm just picking a couple bangle bracelets out so that I know I've got something to start with. And I also have a key ring here, and this will show you what I used when I made the smaller wreaths. The smaller ones would be great for stocking stuffers, small Christmas ornaments, hang on a backpack, or just a key ring. This is Barnett Softy Cotton in Pool Green, and it's nice and soft, but it has a nice pile to it. It's not going to fray or come apart easy. I'm using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, and it makes a good size chain to work on. Now, I am going to show you how to make an easy slip knot, and just wrap it around over to the back and then pull from behind through to the front. It is a simple slip knot, super easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of practice. Once you get that on there, just pull it snug against your finger and set it aside, and you're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and grab my crochet hook, and I had two bangles together there. So I'm going to pull my crochet hook to the underside to the back of the bangle bracelet, and then I'm going to pull the yarn taut against my crochet hook, and I'm going to pull the crochet hook to the front of my bangle so that you have got the yarn looped around the middle and up to the top. And now I'm just going to start with a single slip stitch right there, and that is going to get my yarn attached to the bracelet as I get started. I want to make sure that that tail of the yarn is going to be caught between the bangle and the working yarn that is coming off my yarn ball. I'm going to go under the bangle, over the yarn, and pull it back under. Then I'm going to go under the yarn and pull it through both loops on my hook. And that is a single crochet. Under the bangle, over to the front, and grab that yarn and pull it straight through. Under, grab the yarn, pull it to the front, and straight on through. Now we're just going to continue this as we go right on around this bangle, and I'm making sure that tail is caught in between there. If you need to watch how to do that again, just go ahead and slow this down, and you'll be able to see those single crochets all the way around that. Now you need to have an even number when you're doing this for the rings you're going to put on the outside edge. So I wanted to make sure I had all of those on there that were an even number. So I went ahead and I stopped and I counted them up, and I had 51 at this point, so I needed to add another stitch, so I would have 52 stitches on my ring. Now I'm not giving you a number here because everybody crochets either a little looser or a little tighter, and so it really is going to depend on the yarn you're using, your hook size, and your crochet style. Now this is a slip stitch. You're going to go ahead and grab your yarn, pull it through, and then pull that yarn straight on through the yarn on your hook. You slip stitch when you're joining the rounds together, and that's not going to create any bulk. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 2. I'm starting row 2 on this bangle. I'm going to wrap around, stick it in the same hole that I just did my chain 2 on. I'm going to go over and pull that yarn through and grab the yarn and pull it through all 3 loops. This is a half double crochet. This is pretty simple to do. You're going to wrap your yarn into the next stitch. We're going to pull it on over, go into that next stitch, grab the yarn, pull it to the front, grab the yarn, and pull it through all 3 stitches. Half double crochet. Once again, wrap it, stick it through the next stitch, pull it forward, and pull it right on through all 3 of those. We are going to do a half double crochet all the way around this bangle in each of the single crochets that we have already done. If you have basic knowledge of simple crochet, this shouldn't be real difficult to do. I taught myself how to crochet, and I'm not the best at filming it, but I do like to share some of the more simple things to do, and this really is fairly simple, guys. I hope you will give it a try. We're just going to continue all the way around here with half double crochets as our second row, the first row being single crochets of even number all around our bangle bracelet. So here we are at the end of row 2. I'm finishing up. I'm doing the final slip stitch into the top of the beginning stitch. Grab the yarn, pull it through, and pull it right on through the stitch on my hook. Now we have 52 half double crochets all the way around my bangle bracelet. Now guys, I am not the best crocheter. I taught myself, and I just learned how to read patterns this year. So I think I'm doing well. I am now adding another color to this. I'm using some of the furry, sparkly white yarn, and I just made a slip knot and I hooked it onto my crochet hook right up next to my pool green. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 6. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I want to make sure that I've gotten both of those yarns threads pulled on through as I'm doing both of those. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip a stitch. That I'm going to skip, and into the second stitch I am going to do a slip stitch. So I'm going to go through that stitch. I'm going to grab the yarn, pull it through, and then pull it through the yarn on my crochet hook, and then chain 6. This is what we're going to do all the way around for the third row. So we're going to chain 6, skip a stitch, slip stitch, and continue that pattern. Chain 6, skip a stitch, slip stitch, and chain 6. It's pretty simple. It's not a difficult pattern. I tried to make this as easy as possible, and I really love the way this turns out. There's a few different ones that you can find on YouTube or even on Etsy, but it takes a little bit more where you're changing the yarns back and forth, and I wanted something that was going to be a little simpler to show this. And so I just came up with this one with the half double crochet and just mixing the 2 yarns, and I just love it. I love the way it turned out. I'm going to go all the way around. So here I'm coming to the end of round 3, and this is the last chain stitch, chain 6, skip a stitch, and slip stitch. I'm going to chain 6 one more time, and we're starting row 4. Now in row 3 we did a chain 6, skipped a stitch, and then we slip stitch. So it was a loop of 6 chains. We're going to come in between the loop where they have the skip stitch, and we're going to pull that yarn through and make another slip stitch. So what we're doing is we're making ringlets on the opposite skipped spaces that we did from the prior round. So once again, chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to now go between the next chain, the open stitch, and we're going to slip stitch our chain down. Just pulling that yarn through, and then we're going to chain 6 again. So this part's just a little repetitive and it's so easy to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up now. It's just going to keep on a chain and 6, a slip stitch, and a chain 6. So, I mean, that's it all the way around. We're just going to keep this going, and I'm going to be able to show you how we decorate this once we're done. Okay, so now we are done with row 4, and we're just going to finish this off. So I'm going to bring that on through, and I have one more chain 6 to finish up here. And then we're going to go right back to the front where we started and go right in between that first stitch. I'm going to trim this off, and when I do my slip stitch, I'm going to pull those yarn ends through. So there we go, pulling them on through there and right on out through the top of that. And that is it. We're going to have it nice and tight. I'm pulling it snug. And with that fuzzy yarn, it does not slide back in. So it's nice and taut. And I'm going to tie a little knot in it just to be safe, because with all the fuzzies there, you can't tell anyway. And that way I don't have to weave them through with my needle and thread. I'm going to go ahead and use this to hang on my tree. So here I'm just pulling both yarns through to one side. I'm giving a nice little tie one more time, and I'm going to trim it off. But before I trim them all off, I'm going to take the longer pieces and I'm going to create the dangle, the loop to hang it from on your tree. And I'm just going to do a simple little knot, pulling it through there, and then I'm going to slide it all the way up against the wreath. I can now go ahead and trim that excess off, and we are ready to start decorating. I really love the way this one turned out. I love the colors. It's another spin on that Victorian color. That pool green is just beautiful for this. And you add that white sparkle to it. Oh my goodness, I'm just loving this. And I can't wait to show you how we're going to decorate it. I think it's funny because I just keep playing with it and messing with the ruffles and twisting it here and there. And it's just beautiful. Look at that. Those colors, the stitches are just right. It's not complicated. And I just love the way it turned out. Now let's get to decorating. So I always put down a puppy pad, and then that way I've got a protection between me and the table, and it gives a brighter background for you all to see it as well. I grabbed a few different items here. Now you'll see table scatter. There's some white snowflakes in the background. That's table scatter. The buttons right there that I just held up, those are buttons. Yes, those were tiny little holes. I don't know what I would want to sew that on, but they're perfect. I think they're dress me up buttons. Those are pine cones that I've used. I've gathered from our yard, and they're tiny. You can find some on Etsy too, but I'm fortunate enough that I have a yard that drops little tiny pine cones. It's perfect. I'm going to take the table scatter and hot glue it right on top of some of the Dress It Up buttons. And then the other snowflakes are Dollar Tree snowflake stickers. Oh my goodness, honey, think outside the box. I'm going to go ahead and take that table scatter, glue it on top, and then once I'm done with that, I'm going to kick it up another notch here by adding bling to the top of that. I just like the layered effect. I like the way it looks, and it just builds and brings the bling. My glue, it's just what I was in such a hurry, and I just enjoyed it so much that I just wanted to get it done, and I was excited thinking about what was in my head, and the glue strings just decided to, kind of tag along. Now, those of you who've been following me for a while, you've seen some videos of my crafting areas, and I have a lot of stuff. I am a hoarder, and it's awful, but I was able to find these trees several years ago at an after Christmas clearance. And look, I've got several different sizes, and here's one that's going to be perfect on this little wreath. It has the snow tips on that tree, and it matches that white against the pool green with the white on the snowflakes we're putting down as well. I just think it's turning out beautiful. Very serene, even though it's just a serene look for me, and I think it's beautiful. It's still enough for a Victorian look, but enough bling to kick it to the next level where I'm not feeling like it's too plain. Now, of course, looking at it, I see, there's too much blank area for me. So I'm going to come in with some more hot glue and put on some of the tiny little bling here. They are just flat back rhinestones that I've had gotten a large kit for several years now, and I'm still using them, and I just love having them around. And so I'm just looking and placing a bead of glue where I think it needs a little something, and then I'm going to move on to the next spot and see what needs to be blinged up just a little bit more, and I'm just going to continue moving right along here and until I finally just feel like it's right what I need it to be. For me, I just have to feel good about it. Sometimes I'll look at it and say, no, it just needs something else. And I'm not afraid to continue to try. And so I'm looking here and I'm like, okay, that looks pretty good. I really like the way that looks. So I want something at the top here because the yarn is, I should have crocheted it. That would probably have been the best thing for me to do, is just to crochet along it. But I'm going to go ahead and glue this snowflake. This was from the Dollar Tree several years ago, and it was a snowflake garland that I just kept cutting down and using the snowflakes out of it. And now I had one piece left, and here we go. I think that's a great idea. So one snowflake? Nah, not me. Let's go ahead and put another piece of table scatter in there. Glue it right on top, and then right in the middle there, I have one of the bigger flatback rhinestones, and I'm going to put that right in the middle. So I'm liking this, and I think it looks pretty good, but it doesn't have much color. And so I'm pulling out another one of my little bins, and I remembered I had these little bows in here. These came from a nail art kit. Yes, nail art. You can use that on whatever you want. They're little bows. Oh my goodness. I think I got these at Dollar Tree, once again, a while ago. And so I don't know if you can find these exact ones, but I'm sure they'd have nail art kits again. That bow was perfect for the top of that tree. And then I just put them all together, and here we have it. What do you think, guys? Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend with me. I really appreciate it. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and if you've not subscribed, I hope you will consider doing so now. Hit that like button if you like this video so I know I can make more for you. And as always, stay safe, God bless, and bye for now.